30 with Tony, the best news, the bossest music, and the coolest classic hits, and the best president that ever lived. Let's rock. HMO Sabis. It's the trickster. Welcome to 30 with Tony. Don't you know I am the sexiest president that ever lived? There are only two genders and every woman loves me, so hit it, shake it.
If you don't stop fighting me, I'm going to put the handcuffs on you.
Now you cut out, Mike.
I'll put the handcuffs on you.
Well, put them out, but
All
don't
right,
knock me around
I
the thing here.
will. All right, put out your arms. Put them out.
You gonna put the handcuffs
Yes,
on like
I'm
that?
going to put them just like that.
Hey, Mike, you put the handcuffs on me like that, you know what would happen?
What would happen?
That's a foolish policeman.
What are you talking
You put
about?
the handcuffs on me like that, I say to you, bend over like that. When you bend over, I go clunk, I hit you on the head, and shoot by Mike.
Oh, a tough guy, huh? Well, I'll show you how we handle tough guys. When we get a guy that does a thing like that, we make them put their hands behind their backs and we put the handcuffs on them behind their backs. Watch this. I'll show you. You see that? All right, put the other one on me, will you? Put the other one on me. I'm showing you something.
Well, you're going to have to be a
All right. All right.
How's that? You got it?
All right. Now let me see me do something.
You can't do nothing?
Not a thing.
Yeah, well, that's
Go on, ask me to do something. Ask me to get tough.
Go ahead, get tough.
I can't get tough.
Hey, that's a pretty good idea, Mike. I mean, if you did it that way,
Yeah. If you'd listen to me, you'd learn some things, Costello.
I think you're right.
You bet.
I like that idea very much.
That's right. I can't do a thing. I'm helpless.
Hey.
No, can't do a thing.
How you going to get out?
Oh, well, here, the key.
Huh?
The key. The key's on my belt there. Costello, the key's on my belt. Unlock the handcuffs and let me out. I just showed you something.
I see the key on your belt. Can you get the key?
Will you please get the key and unlock the handcuffs? Come on.
Well, of course. I mean, if you can you get it?
Of course I can't get it.
Well, why can't you get the key?
Because my hands are handcuffed behind me. I just told you that. Now get it. All right, get the key. Get the key. Get the key. Unlock me. Will you get the key, cut? Oh, what are you true? Who are you yelling at?
Hello? Keep your mouth shut. I'll let you have it.
You shut up! Oh, I never thought. Get that key and get me out of here! Policeman.
You big dope! Wait till I go up and get Abbott and bring him down and show him how I handcuffs you.
Well, hi, Kemosabe's. It's Tony D'Angelo. It is January 8th, 2025, 3 p.m. Eastern, Ada Domini in the year of our Lord. So happy to have you here for this edition of 30 with Tony. So grateful for you. So grateful for our music contributors. So grateful for everybody that's watching and circulating and discussing the show. I am honored, as I say every Tuesday on the Lee Elsey Show, and here and wherever I am proud to be among you, and I certainly am. Grateful to you, grateful to our music contributors, and grateful to everyone. Let's get into what's happening now. I picked the clip that I did earlier that you saw on the way in. That was a clip of an old Abbott and Costello television show. That was the first season. That was 1952 to 1953. And to me, that first season was perhaps the funniest television show that ever took place. And it's been played over and over and over again. And it never got the recognition, as far as I'm concerned, that it deserved. But basically, I would suggest, if you need a laugh, I suggest you watch it. If you are of, shall we say, very distinct, politically correct sensibilities, it might disturb you. It is not politically correct, and that really is a large part of the humor. But anyway, to the kids that are out there, you have to read about Abbott and Costello. They were a comedy duo, probably running from the 1940s through the 1950s, and they were well known in film. They were well known on television, and they were incredibly well known on radio. And it's a sad tale, pretty much what happened to both of them, but it's incredible comedy. That said, the two characters that you looked at were Lou Costello, with the derby hat and the very funny looking outfit, and a character called Mike the Cop. Mike the Cop was played by an actor. Some of the old timers know who he is. His name was Gordon Jones, and he was a kind of a handsome character actor lead of the 1940s. Sort of started to fall out of favor in the 1950s, and he had a recurring role on Abbott and Costello as Mike the Cop. All of these people lived in this rooming house that was run by Sidney Fields, and Sidney Fields effectively played himself, or his character name was Sidney Fields, and he was Sid Fields, and he was another old-time comic that was hysterical. But basically, there was a constant dynamic in the show between Lou Costello and Mike the Cop, where Mike the Cop kept threatening to run Lou Costello into jail because of something he was doing. And what happened there was basically a comedy routine with handcuffs. And Mike the Cop was rendered powerless by the actions of Lou Costello, and Lou Costello was, effectively humiliating him. Now, if you go back 70 plus years, that was quote unquote hysterically unthinkable, horrible, where people could just like run over the wishes of law and order. And, you listen to all the people laughing. And basically, that's what went on. And when I saw that clip today, every once in a while, I like to start these shows off with a clip. I said, what's really describing what's happening now in Minneapolis, in a lot of the cities of the, shall we say, the blue cities and the blue states? This disdain, this like humiliation of law enforcement, a humiliation of right and wrong. Now, basically, what we're seeing now happen is law enforcement comes to, shall we say, enforce a law, and then they get all kinds of grief and aggravation and complaints and things like that. And I thought about that, and I thought about that, and I thought about that, and I said, I think I'm better doing this as I think of it, to show you the slides, and then you'll get a better idea of really what's on my heart and mind. Because folks, I hate to say it, I think we're in a civil war right now in America. And the civil war we're in is very similar to Lou Costello versus Mike the Cop, very similar to good versus evil, very similar to order and law and order versus chaos and anarchy. Sometimes I get so angry with government, I think anarchy would be an improvement. In many cases, it would be. Anarchy, government has been the reinforcing element, if you will, of the incompetent, the inept, and the inane in many places. You don't believe me? Consider the blue state you're living in. And it just, today it was, let me show you. Okay, I'm better off if I show you. Here is, I'm just going to start, I'm going to go over to here. And I'm going to go to here. And I'm going to go to here. And I'm going to go to here. And we've been talking, can I get a sip of tea if you don't mind, on the Lee Elsey show about the descent into chaos, lack of governance, lack of everything in the city of New York by the election and the government of Zoran Mandani. And where he has, and this is the thing with this guy, I called him in September of last year when I was on the Lee Elsey show. And on this show, I said, you got to watch this guy. He's charismatic. He's evil. He's got these little beady eyes that are hypnotizing. And he will change the world, and he will change the world in a way which is not good in the least. And people are like, who are you talking about? What? Hey, guess what? He's now mayor of New York City. And what he wants to do, basically, even though he sort of has come off to be this thing of, oh, I'm really not, I'm just giving, aspirations and I want to create new visions. No, this guy is in it for the money. And he sees this as a way of him to have a national platform to effectively, shall we say, get his whimsy going and get his yah-yahs out. Now, it's as cities descend into the worst crud imaginable. And, we will get into Minneapolis in a moment. But basically, the idea of these people, if you want to call them the left, the radicals, the demo commies, whatever you want to call them, basically is we are in a war. They've come to the fact that they're in a war and that they're going to win this war. They have set that out. They have purposed that in their hearts and their minds. Republicans, I was just listening to Mark Wayne Mullin, senator. He's like, well, we want to do things lawfully and, fight with the, as Coach Leo Fascini, a frequent contributor on the Lee Elsey show, and my friend often says, with the Marquis of Queensberry rules, these guys do not care how much they lie, how much they cheat, how much they go behind the back. They ain't in this thing but to win and to change the world and to change the world for the worst with respect to law and order. And a large part of this changing, if you will, is by the elimination, as this man himself said, of rugged individualism for the warmth of collectivism. So in other words, if you're the kind of person that likes to do something on yourself and by yourself and cause things to be better for you, he hates your guts. And he wants you to take what you have gathered for yourself and give it to somebody less fortunate, i.e., somebody who doesn't want to work for it. I'm wondering if he is going to go to the New York Yankees and say, hey, all you season box holders and all you people that sit behind home plate and all you people in the Jim Beam suite, in order for your team to be able to use the City of New York Stadium, you're going to have to give up so many dates for the less fortunate because it's the warmth of collectivism. You think I'm crazy? I mean, you sports fans out there, do you think I'm nuts? I mean, these sports teams have been in the city's pocket for years and years and years. And Bob Lazari and I used to talk about that all the time in the sports show and how they just, basically the cities are, hoard out to the sports teams who really bring little net economic activity. They do bring recognition and they do bring a place on the map, no question. But that's a show for another time. But that all said, this is where they are headed. And this person here on the right, I should really blow up her face a little bit. I like stupid looks, actually. I think it's probably about as big as I'm going to get it. Her name is Sia Weaver. Now, she's been all over the news. And it's like, if I'm going to sound like my father, my seventh grade educated father, I'm going to look at her face and say, boy, what a screwball. I mean, look at the expression on her face. The expression on her face is somewhere between hysteria, ineptitude, and vacantness. There ain't nothing happening between those ears other than a Bryn Mawr ideology of we've got to democratize the world for the benefit of all people. Now, I'm sure you're aware of it. And with her, there is a video circulating in 2021 that she made that the people that are the homeowners, and she's talking to, the people in New York City that are in, Hollis, Queens and Bayside, Queens, up by the bay, by the Whitestone Bridge and Throgs Neck, across the bay, and people in Riverdale, the north end of the Bronx with the mansion houses. She's talking to them and say, your days are effectively numbered because you are predominantly white, you are predominantly endowed, and we coming after you to do our thing. Now, the fact that violates every single fair housing, fair governance, fair this, fair... We fought a war for equality, but equality wasn't good enough after 2020. We had to have equity. Equality was we each got a shot, let the best man or woman do the best that they possibly can. and let us do better and continue to do better. World did just fine under that for the most part, not without its problems, not without its warts, but basically it was a much better, much more productive world. That is inarguable. Now, we have a situation now of equity, and you have people here like the screwball, C.O. Weaver, saying, "Hey, it's we're gonna we're gonna make you, white person, and other people, POCs, we're gonna make you rethink your housing. We're McDonald's. We're gonna make you rethink your burger, or we're Bruegger's Bagels. We're gonna make you rethink your bagel." So now we have to rethink and reimagine housing because it does not fit with the intellectual, moral, and ideological comport of the various screwballs in this picture. Now, I don't know how New York got to this. Basically, they did. And there's maybe a ton of reasons I could give you. But when you have in America your biggest cities, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, your most powerful functional cities, Boston, acting like bad college campuses and ghettos and demo commie slums and Marxist villas, destruction is not far behind that if you don't get ahead of it. And we were in a, shall we say, starting with the COVID takeover in 2020, actually plotted for in 2019, as we have looked at on the Lee Elsey show and here. And our governor in Connecticut, King Governor Ned Lamont, the unaccountable, was in on it. He got the same McKinsey briefings that everybody else did. We've shown those documents here, and we've discussed them on the Lee Elsey show. Ever since that, the focus has been, what can we do to proliferate the war? And basically, in order to actually propound is a better word, to propound and or prosecute, which is a better word, let us just keep relentlessly assaulting everything. Let us assault fear. We'll use COVID. Let us assault the ballot and the free will of Americans. We will use the administrative state. Let us assault the right to vote. Well, we're just going to have fake voting like we do in Connecticut. Hello, Wanda the Stuffer. And other people on and on and on. And basically, that's what they did. They are relentless. They keep coming. Where Republicans stupidly go to them and try to get some sort of a rational approach to what can make your city, your town, your country better, they ain't interested in that. They ain't interested in that whatsoever. They are interested in doing whatever things they can to get their agenda across. Now, basically, in this press conference, Mayor Mondami was saying that, he did not address, this guy's very slippery. He's very good. He did not address her bug-eyed racist comments, but he said, she's got her heart in the right place, and I support who she is. And I think if you go down this article, and talks about the Post, and Eric Adams, is delusional and as befuddled as he can be, said the remarks showed extreme privilege and total detachment from reality. And where Mondami's a slick weasel, he did not address the substance of Weaver's post, but defended a record of standing up for tenants across the city. So I want you to get in your mind, folks, Keemosabis, I want you to get in mind that these people are in a war. Whether you're in this war or not, they're in it. They're in it, and they're fighting. And they're fighting you tooth and nail every single day. Let's go back to COVID. And I didn't want to, crash the screen here with slides, but let's go back to COVID. I've often said the moment after the I believe that was the 2020 State of the Union speech, when Nancy Pelosi tore up the speech behind Donald Trump's head. That was the effect of gentlemen, start your engines and let us unleash, quote unquote, talk about unleash the Kraken. That was unleash the Kraken on your head. basically. And that war started then, which was well planned before then. And all the people were in it. And the Phil Murphys and the Andrew Cuomo's and the Ned Lamonts all knew what was going to come down, and they were basically actors in the play. If that's not the case, why was McKinsey writing the reports and the protocol in 2019, well before there were any traces of the virus? Now, my more scientific Twitter people will give me things before that, but basically, this was concocted evil. These people are in a war. They want to take things over. Okay, so let us move on. I don't have to tell you who this man is, but I will say this much. There's an old saying that if you watched Met games, and I did as a young adult, I watched a lot of baseball. Tim McCarver, who was a former major league player and a longtime commentator and longtime analyst and play-by-play man, who was a very intelligent guy. Not everybody loved him. Some people adored him. Other people thought he, had too many issues. He and Deion Sanders had a number of issues going way back when. But he had a saying which has stayed with me ever since he started saying it, and I've used it quite a bit. You can go from, figuratively speaking, the doghouse to the penthouse. You can also go from the penthouse to the doghouse. Maybe you go from the doghouse to the warehouse and you're forgotten, or you're held for another time. This is a man here, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, probably the most dysfunctional, incompetent clown in government, actually makes Ned Lamont look like Winston Churchill some of the time. A clown, a joke, a man who was presiding over fraud, a man that allowed people, along with the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, to steal, and they just went ahead and just started allowing people to do this to quote unquote ensure their base and to have their dream community of chaos, wreckage, and garbage all over the streets, basically. But this is a man who yesterday, it's like the old song says, and I was thinking about this before we started the show. This old song, what a difference a day makes. What a difference a day makes, 24 hours. When the sun hits the showers where there used to be rain. Don't ask me to sing. Don't ask me to give you the rest of that, the lyrics. I should have rehearsed for that. But that all said, this man went from the doghouse to the penthouse in 24 hours. And this is the whole thing. They're on the ropes. They're, the world's finally going to cave in. It's like you're watching one of these adventure movies when you're a kid. The villain is finally going to get cornered. We're finally going to do a job on him, and this happens. And the first thing you got to say to yourself, my very first thought when I saw what happened in Minneapolis, again, I refer to the incident with the lady, really, in my view, we will get to that, attempting to run over the ICE agent. And the first thing I said is, man, Christmas came early for this guy. Notice something, Kemosabe's. How much have you seen in the news ever since this happened? How much have you seen? Monday, it's all you're going to hear. Tim Walz comes out. I'm resigning. Tuesday, Tim Walz comes out. But I'm not going to quit. And it's basically this man was sitting there on the cliff. He now has gone to a position again of playing a victim and a position of, I am the defender of you, and I've got, quote unquote, semi-credibility. Whatever took place, and we're going to look at that for a moment, whatever took place in Minnesota yesterday effectively, I hate to use the word resurrected him. And my first thought was, if this could not have been any more expertly plotted and scripted, if you were writing a script to redeem somebody in a movie, this was absolutely unbelievable. So I think is, hey, what was this? While the fraud hearings are going on in D.C., there's, we got a little problem here with a middle-aged mom of three trying to run over an ICE agent in Minnesota. Didn't happen in Boston. Didn't happen in Los Angeles. Didn't happen in Austin, Texas. It happened in Minnesota. The perfect storm for this moron. And you got to say to yourself, is there anything behind that? Is there any plotting going on here? Now, the thing is, you bet your bird these bastards plot. They're fighting a war. They're serious. Republicans are trying to play government. These people are fighting like it's the last subhill on Iwo Jima. They are fighting for their existence, and they will do whatever. Would they sacrifice a life in order to, quote unquote, turn the tables? Well, you ask yourself. I mean, people are martyrs all the time for things they believe in, be it the Christian martyr, be it the Buddhist monks in Vietnam who would set themselves on fire. It's like, it ain't the most revolutionary idea since sliced bread and the movies inventing sound, right? I mean, you can follow me that far. But then I started to say to myself, okay, when this happened, and now it's this whole thing of the government is going to come, Donald Trump's going to come and he's going to start shooting people in the streets and he's going to take control of things. I mean, honestly, truthfully, I'm wondering now that, and I don't think Republicans, with all respect to Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, I wouldn't be playing with this thing. I would be jumping on it. Tim Walz and Jacob Frey have really got to be, quote unquote, pressured to be removed from power. They're really acting in insurrection to the United States government. Whether you agree or disagree with what the United States government is doing, the United States government sets that bar. And basically, there is something called the Insurrection Act when that happens. But that all said, these guys are playing for their lives and they will kill you in the process. And they don't care because they are sold out. Now, let's look at the woman for a moment. And there's a bunch of stuff you see about her. Here's ABC. Now, of course, this is ABC of, as the president says, this was an organization that hired, Martha Raddatz and Terry Moran and George Slopadopoulous. And basically, she was a mother of three, a poet, new to the city. Now, you think of all the places one could go and all the places where one would want to go. She was drawn to Minneapolis. I know people that were drawn to Minneapolis, and they were drawn to Minneapolis because of the timbre and the tenor of what Tim Walz were doing in terms of this, semi-utopian communist, I hate America society. And basically, she is this, they're trying to portray her as one who really doesn't have any terrorist leanings or whatever the case may be. And her name is Nicole Macklin Good, recently moved to Minnesota. Now, I think it's inarguable that she was in a protest. I think it was inarguable that she was hostile to ICE and hostile to federal law. And she was, seemed to have all the markings. This had a pride flag on her Instagram account. Now, it's a tragic thing that she got killed. And she has an ex-husband who's trying to be, the guy must feel terrible. In another video after the shooting, a distraught woman is seen sitting near the vehicle wailing, that's my wife. I don't know what to do. I can't explain that. The Trump administration has painted her as a domestic terrorist who has attempted to ram federal agents. And people say she's not that way. She is, I guess, married or has been married several times. Basically, people say she's a terrorist or she's compassionate and she's kind. Let's just deal with what we know at this point. And people want to have instant analysis and this and that. She was in the protest. She was not obeying the lawful order of an officer, and she hit an officer who you can say was trying to defend himself or trying to protect those around him, or murdered her. But she was there. She was very much in heart and mind. She was a part of the effort against ICE. I think we can agree on that. Now, me, myself, and I, like you, I've seen all the angles, and the frontal angle to me is, literally using a bad pun, is the killer, because that poor man was hit in the leg. He actually limped, as far as anything of, oh, he murdered her. I mean, you have a vehicle coming at you at high speed, and you don't know what somebody's going to do. What do you do? And I do know some of the idiotic comments that I've seen from Connecticut law enforcement. Oh, we don't, and people that are high. Oh, we don't do things like that. We're instructed to get out of the way. This is why we have a sewer state, literally, with no respect for law enforcement, because the leadership of law enforcement, which I'm sure it's not every single officer, but the leadership of law enforcement is basically do what you need to do to, quote unquote, be a help to mankind and not arrest criminals. That's, whatever idiots that have been proliferating that's precisely why we have problems, in my opinion, in this state. But basically, it is inarguable. Let's just deal with the fact that it's inarguable that she was there in that protest. Now, the other thing is, when I looked at the screen, I'm not going to, you've all seen that. I looked at all the homes on that street, and I looked at the fact that there's a whole bunch of people in there who are praying for law, order, and safety in that community, who want to see the bad people removed. Does anybody give a rear? I know that there's people in the Trump administration. Anybody give a rat's rear end about how they feel about what's happening to their neighborhood? The fact that having a national disturbance outside your door, I'm sure they really appreciate that, right? Who cares? We're at war. We're going to get those white people out of their homes. We're at war. We're going to get rid of all the Trump people. But hey, you got these people in these homes. They have children. I'm sure a lot of them work. They don't want government intervention. And guess what? This is what you got. Bad enough. This is what you got. But anyway, when I heard about this first, and I was sharing this on Twitter, I was saying to myself, if you're him, I don't know what devil he prays to, basically, but this was answered prayer from the pit of hell. The world is closing in. There are hearings about his overseeing gross billion-dollar malfeasance. His state is crumbling. This man could have been vice president of the United States. Can you imagine? His quote-unquote governance skills are shown for what they are, non-existent. He is an embarrassment. He's on a thread just about to leave office and praying, when is my ship coming in? When is my ship coming in? Well, here it is, the Queen Mary. And then you start to look at, okay, is there a plot happening here? Now, again, I cannot prove this, but there's a lot of things here that make me suspicious. Number one, These people play for blood. They play by no rules. They will do whatever they need to do in order to get the job done. What I found interesting was this was, if I can, and I think you're seeing most of this, Laura Loomer on Twitter. I'm not an expert, but she is one who is tweeting all the time, and she's been around the president. And she is a social critic. And some of the things she's written about, I've read and said, yeah, you're right. Some of the other things she's written about, I said, I think you're some kind of a nut. But that all said, she took the time to, shall we say, marshal all the tweets of, Demo Commie Central and, let's see, the New Republic, who said, and these are all within a very short period of time. ICE just shot a legal observer in the face multiple times. Jerry Nadler. How about Jerry Nadler? Jerry Nadler has hated Donald Trump's guts for probably close to 45 years, going back to when Donald Trump wanted to build a building in his district, and Jerry Nadler was the city councilman in that district. And they have been like Ralph Cramden said on The Honeymooners about his mother-in-law, like the water moccasin and the mongoose ever since. And he has a tweet, and it's basically, they use the term repeatedly, legal observer, 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 and other people, Sarah Jacobs, another beaut. ICE murdered a legal observer in Minnesota. What is a legal observer? Let's go out and watch the riot. That sounds good. I mean, you're going to bring the popcorn and the card table, or we're going to have a tailgate. I mean, this is absolutely insane. But these people are basically coordinated for a war. Now, the inside out of what I've just explained to you, as best as I can, is why are they like immediately online? Bang, 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 bang. All this is there. It looks orchestrated. Obviously, they're using the same language. And they're all talking about how awful it is. Now, I was told as a very young man by my parents, by my driver's ed instructor, and by other adults that if you are stopped by a police officer, and if you get a lawful order from a police officer, you obey that order. Now, how could I put it? There is this whole thing, you're all well aware of it, of people like the Long Island audit who go and effectively the positive side of people like that, they're called First Amendment auditors, is they cause, really, I think, a light on the fact of a lot of police departments and authorities and people who are quote unquote in authoritative positions know absolutely nothing about the law and what they're doing in many, many cases. I think the downside of that, why I am not attracted to that particular approach, is I do my best to be a Bible-believing Christian. And in the Bible, there is a very, shall we say, defined position of authority. Authority goes from God, and it goes to, quote unquote, to the ministers of what's going on in earth, the people who are in authority, those that have the rule over you. And then, it goes to the family, and it goes to the authority of the parents of the children, the authority of the husband, the authority of the wife. So I'm not going to walk in and start tormenting police officers for what they don't know. I believe in authority, but yet I think when we look at police officers, like the whatever butte that was in Connecticut that made that statement, we have a lot of problems. We have a lot of problems in our law enforcement in Connecticut and other places. You can argue how that all got there. Was it police accountability? Was it, me, myself, and I don't think police should be non-accountable for their duties. But I believe they should be more highly paid and accountable. I believe they should be, the best and the brightest, and they should attract people and rather repel them. But that all said, don't tell me you don't have problems in law enforcement, and you have somebody like Brian Fahey. I mean, it's basically. Somebody like Brian Fahey who complains, or some of his colleagues, that, oh, it's a double standard for us. It should be a quadruple standard for you guys. Basically, you're supposed to set the examples. You're not supposed to exist on the lowest common denominator. But that all said, it's this whole thing of, how can I put it? It's the people here, when you're looking at this whole thing, legal observer, legal observer, legal observer. And I do not, when you get to police, they are human people, but I believe that they should be supported by everybody in government to do a better job. And if they fall off the wagon, if they fall off the line, if they do something to hurt people, I don't believe they should suffer the fullest extent of the law. I believe they should suffer the fullest extent of the law doubly. They are supposed to be, shall we say, on the authoritative chain. And, listen, I'm sorry, you don't know as much as God, whoever you are. They're supposed to be the ministers, and there is a high bar for their service. And it's like, basically, it's this looks very odd to me at this point. Perhaps there'll be more information coming out as time goes on. But what's happened here, which is inarguable, this guy here has gone from the doghouse to the penthouse, and he's no longer a victim, and we no longer talk about Somali fraud. 24 hours, amazing. But anyway, I want to say this much, that I don't want to look at Helen Mirren. I don't dislike Helen Mirren, but I don't want to look at her. I want you to look at this. Bear with me just a second. Sometimes this computer gets very stupid on me. I've been saying ever since the beginning, I said this in Providence with what happened in Brown. I'm saying it now with what happened in Minneapolis. You have a lot of good, praying, decent people in Connecticut. You have a lot of good, praying, decent people who are praying for the guidance of elected officials. Because in this concept of authority, in this concept of biblical authority, it's not like I pray for Donald Trump because I like him, and I pray for Ned Lamont to go to hell. Basically, you're supposed to pray for all people in authority. I fall off of that. These people tick me off to no end. Government and the stupidity and just about all sides gets me to the point where I've got to remind myself to pray for people because their actions are sometimes so reprehensible. And where you effectively see in just about any demo commie burg gross incompetence, foolishness, slovenliness, fraud, abuse, money missing, blaming others, hating Trump or whatever. Connecticut thus far has, outside of the things that are average or that we know in Connecticut, I just want to move this thing here a little bit. Actually, I don't want to go there just yet. I want to go to here. Connecticut has effectively skated. We have not been the laughingstock of the world like Providence for what happened there at Brown University, or being the horror place of the world like Minnesota. But one thing we do have that all these places have, we have the same stupid, brain-dead, mind-numbing, liberal incompetence at all levels of government that would be no better, that would act no better, that would cause a disaster, God forbid, happening in Connecticut to be 10 times worse than it needs to be, because of people that can't act, can't react, can't proact, can't do any kind of action. And we We have avoided that, which I think is a testimony to all you good folks that are praying. To this point, if you've looked at Jacob Fry, the mayor in Minneapolis, the gentleman here on the right is Justin Elicker. I knew him. I've interviewed him once, and I don't know why he became the type of person that he is. But what do you think Justin Elicker would do if, God forbid, something like this happened in New Haven? He would basically be something worse than Jacob Fry. Same, cut from the same cloth. What do you think William Tong would do if what was happening to Keith Ellison in Minnesota started to accelerate against him? It's the same thing. So you have a scandal because of the miscreant nature of New Haven. If you were with me on this show and the Lee Elsey show, our very good friends at the Connecticut Sentinel covered a press conference before the time of the Trump administration, saying that how ICE would come and start rooting out all the illegal people in Connecticut. And the police chief of New Haven was one of the miscreants that was speaking to this group of illegal people. Not that the people acting illegally, if you want to be technically correct. And his name was Carl Jacobson. And Carl Jacobson basically was making statements at this press conference. It's going back, maybe 11, 12 months ago, about what I will do to protect all citizens in this city, including those that don't have a right to be here. And basically people asked him questions, and the more questions they asked, the more befuddled he got and the more evasive. And just like all these other, shall we say, liberal leaders of these legitimate cities. Well, anyway, there's a little thing happening right now. Mr. Jacobson, who probably will find his way. He resigned from the police force of the city of New Haven because he had a little case of sticky fingers in putting his hand in the informant pot. And now this whole thing of, who's watching the pot, who's doing this, who's doing that. I blame you. No, I blame you. And. Well, rest assured, these incompetents find their way to other places, and some twisted city will hire him to do something or other. They will say that he was unfairly pressured, and how dare we criticize him? And don't you see what Donald Trump is doing to the country? But all that being as it is, so the typical, shall we say, approach, other than accountability, structure, governance, control, is let's just have a press conference and talk about how, like Tim Walz does, when you talk about the Somalis, I'm going to get to the right. Yeah, I'm responsible, but I'm going to fix it. And there's so many people who have caused this to happen. And, somehow it all comes back to Donald Trump. Well, you have the same group of, liberal floundering clowns doing the same thing in another city when something messes up, basically. And it is so predictable. It is so out of central casting of liberal land, like here. We've immediately made the woman whose name is Nicole Macklin Good. We've immediately made her a legal observer. I mean, back from the streets where I came from, that was known as a rubbernecker. And if you were rubbernecking at a police scene, you were told to move along. And if you disobeyed the order of an officer that was lawful, you were breaking the law, and you were effectively at that point proceeding at your peril. But basically, one that does that, assuming the officers are acting legally, not all of them do, but assuming it is a reasonable request from one and you don't follow that, you effectively have forfeited your privileges and quote unquote your rights as a citizen at that point because you're not following an order, assuming the order is legitimate. I think generally you follow the order anyway and you deal with the legitimacy or not after. That is a much wiser course of action. Keeps everybody from getting hurt. And when you have this climate where people like this who are fighting a war and people like this who are, basically, shall we say, surreptitious bastards who give you the dumb face, but deep down they're just they are coming at you with the same fervor against all things American as somebody like this over here. But basically, you follow that order, and then somehow you make him into a legal observer. This is an amazing thing. But anyway, if you are in any blue city, God forbid if something should happen, there will be nothing but finger pointing excuses and how dare you come in here, government, and straighten me out. I can straighten myself out. You're just not giving me the opportunity. That's basically it. The weakness thing is a part of the plan of destruction because even how could I put it? Even the most aggressive of us see something wrong with hitting a defenseless target and they play defenseless, but they're not defenseless. They're not defenseless. They're insidious and they're plotting at this very moment. So basically, what have we said here in close to this hour? Well, these people are in a war, folks. You want to sit there and talk about colleagues and you want to talk about reasonableness, they will do whatever they can to win. They don't care about rules. They don't care about what they said yesterday. Chris Murphy doesn't care about what he said about Venezuela. Those people who are following and think that he's actually credible, which I don't understand, it doesn't make an impression on them. He doesn't care. Plus, you've got millions of dollars going to network television and places like Connecticut to effectively put together a very slick newscast and lie to you and not tell you the truth and not tell you what you need to know. So that doesn't matter to them. They're in a war. Stop playing with them. Now over here, this guy went from the doghouse to the penthouse, and he went there immediately in one day, which leads me to believe that perhaps this person here, Nicole Macklin Good, was in on something really, really, really life-changing. And after all, she was a legal observer. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people at least said this. Immediately, the tweets come from Central Casting. What does that tell you? That tells you that their media machine is slick. It tells you that they're serious. It tells you that they are ahead of this game when Republicans and conservatives are incredibly behind it. What does that tell you? That's what it tells me, basically. And they effectively took his rear end and redeemed it. And that of, have you heard about the Somali fraud in the last 48 hours? And again, if you're in a place like New Haven or Los Angeles or Boston or something like that, pray to God for your protection. Pray to God for your government, because these people are just nuts. And whether you could use the Insurrection Act on them or not, I will say I will disagree with Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. Don't play with these guys. They are in a war. They're coming after you now. And now they've got whatever it takes to get them in all these cities to do what you're seeing right now in Minneapolis and effectively stunt all of the good work that the Donald Trump administration has done and all of the great economic work and all the great energy work, really mature government that whether you love Donald Trump or not, you cannot actually criticize lower gasoline. You can't criticize lower food prices. You can't criticize fewer wars. unless you're some sort of a nut. I guess if you're these guys, you can, because it effectively makes you look more ridiculous than you are. Basically, that's the only thing. Was talking about this last night with Martin Olson. I was on his show last night in New London City Focus. And I said, where does a sane Democrat go? And there are sane Democrats. Now, this is a sane Democrat. I have a friend client who's been here for many years. Lovely lady, just an absolute doll, incredibly intelligent. She's a liberal, and she and I will have discussions. And discussions we will have is, how do you fight crime? I will say, you need police and you don't need social workers. You need, quote unquote, the respect of law and law and order must command that respect. And if they don't command that respect, they should be excoriated to the nth degree. The bar has to raise, basically. And crime needs to be, shall we say, crime needs to be contained and punished. She says, you don't need any of that. You need more education, and you'll keep less people out of prison. The cost of education, she will say, is less than the cost of sending somebody to prison for life. And we can discuss that. But here's the thing we agree on. We agree that there should not be crime. These people don't want a world without crime. They will accept crime. And then when they get crime, case in point, police chief walks in, helps himself to some money, they will make excuses. They will not fix the crime. So my point is, where does that same Democrat, like my lady friend, where does she go? What does she relate to? I mean, we're beyond any sort of rationality with people like that, or people like that, or sadly, people like that. And when the state-run media generates hate and vitriol and hatred for America to the nth degree, and you get a mayor like that, and you get a housing person like that, who basically wants you to, quote unquote, rethink your burger, folks, I don't know what we're in for, but see this for what it really is. I'm going to stop the share. Well, hopefully we gave you something to think about today. As I thought about it, and as we look in the days ahead, I don't know what we're going to see, but I made a prediction at the top of January. I said January is going to be one heck of a month, followed with a probable government shutdown. And believe me, these people whom I showed you earlier will do everything they can to cause wreckage on America and make your life difficult, regardless of whether you agree with them or not, because it ain't about you, it ain't about me, it ain't about America, it ain't about right, it ain't about wrong, but it's about them getting their way, and they will kill themselves and you to do it. Simple as that, and just as difficult. It's Tony D'Angelo here on 30 with Tony. We'll be right back with the rest of the show. We'll have a little fun right after this.
Notice everything you need. Feel the need, oh feel the need in me. I need you by my side to be my guide. Can't you see my arms are open wide? Feel the need, oh feel the need in me. Every day I need it, every day I want it. Without your sweet, sweet love, I'd rather die. I need it constantly. Your love takes care of me. Your love is better to me than apple pie. Just put your hand in mine. Love me all the time to prove you will plainly see. Feel the need, oh feel the need in me. On the case to keep my heart in place. You make me what I need to be. Ooh, feel
HMO Sobbies. It's the Trickster. It's time for a 30 with Tony classic movie review. And here's Tony.
Well, thanks, Kemosabe's. Thanks for staying with us. You might have heard that line or that little bit of dialogue on the Lee Elsey show. He plays it often. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. But where did that come from? What does it mean? And what are the roots of that? Well, for our first movie of this year, we're going to discuss that. And let me start sharing the film with you. And if I've got this right on this newfangled computer, let me see how I do. And here we go. The film is On the Waterfront. It is as the article says, a 1954 American crime drama film, and it's got everything. It's got struggles, it's got the unions, it's got violence, it's got dirty deals, it's got all sorts of little dramas going on here and there, and it deals with the union and mob influence on the docks in Hoboken, New Jersey. And it started, as the article says, from a 1948 article in the New York Sun, and it was probably one of the biggest critical and commercial successes, and it is considered to be one of the greatest films ever made. The director was the legendary Elia Kazan, and Elia Kazan actually constructed this movie because he was very much in a pushback mode towards the House Un-American Activities Commission in Hollywood. And he wanted to show something as far as solidarity. So he chose the story of a corrupt union. Now, basically, I'll show you the poster here. The lead protagonist, Marlon Brando, plays a fighter, an ex-fighter, a broken down guy known as Terry Malloy, who threw a fight way back when so that he would have some money and some position in the union. And as he goes on in his life, he realizes what a terrible bargain he made, literally a bargain with the devil. Now, the two people here that you see, this is Marlon Brando, and this is the lovely Eva Marie Saint. She's still with us. She's actually over 100 years old, a legendary actress. She was in a lot of Hitchcock films. And basically, in this movie, the Terry Malloy character sees her and says, gee, you know, there's a better life for me, and I want to do something legitimate with my life, and I'm starting to see good in my life where I never saw it before. Now, another picture of Eva Marie Saint, and they're meeting by the docks in Hoboken. All of this was shot actually in Hoboken. Actually, here is the gentleman on the right is Carl Malden. Those of you who are older may remember him as a character player. Was famous in the American Express commercials. Don't leave home without it. Had a famously crooked nose. And here is a picture where he is counseling Eva Marie Saint. And we're back to the picture. But anyway, or back to the poster. But this movie has probably some of the best character players you're ever going to say. Lee J. Cobb was often played a rough and tumble character. He plays the union boss. You've got to see it. Rod Steiger, actually a very good friend of my friend Michael Dante, was maybe one of the most consummate actors ever in Hollywood. And it's just something that once you start it, you've got to see it. You've got to see it develop, and you're not going to be able to get away with it. Now, 1998, this movie was considered to be the 8th greatest American movie of all time. In 2007, it was ranked 19th by AFI. I'm not going to read through the plot. I don't want to spoil it for you, but Pat Henning is another guy who is a noted character actor. And what's really good here is a lot of the bit players are actual fighters from the 30s and 40s, like Two-Ton Tony Galento. famously said, "I train on beer," and he did. And in a fight, he actually knocked down Joe Louis training on beer. Tammy Moriello is another one. Abe Simon is another fighter who plays in this movie. Actually, they play sort of henchman roles. Martin Balsam, a well-known character actor, is in this movie as a crime investigator. And Pat Hingle is an old-time sort of an Irish actor, character player. And Nehemiah Persoff was a very, very, very versatile character actor. Now, the screenplay, it is considered to be, as we said, Elia Kazan's answer to those who criticized him for identifying 8 communists in the film industry before the House Committee on Un-American Activities. One of his critics was his friend and collaborator, Arthur Miller. Arthur Miller was married to Marilyn Monroe at some point. They actually lived in Hamden at one point, Hamden, Connecticut. They actually lived in Stamford, Connecticut at one point. But there is a lot of back and forth. You can read this on the Wikipedia article, and they've done a very good job with this. Frank Sinatra thought he had the Terry Malloy role, but they didn't give it to him, and he was very angry, and he wanted the priest role, and they didn't give it to him. He was doubly angry, and the old thing was in Hollywood, you never get Frank angry, because Frank had a way of cutting your water off in just about every single corner of the ecological system. But you have to look at the awards. Best Motion Picture won it. Best Director won it. Best Actor, Marlon Brando, won it. Best Supporting Actress, Eva Marie Saint. That's the current young lady. A lovely, lovely, lovely lady. She won it. Actually, I should really do it this way. Sam Spiegel, Elia Kazan. We've had a picture of him before. Marlon Brando, you're well aware of him. The Best Music Score for a Dramatic or Comedy Picture, the great Leonard Bernstein. It was nominated. And Best American Film, the Bodie Awards. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. Best Foreign Actor in Britain, Marlon Brando. So what I'm going to do is not spoil this for you. You need to see it. You need to see it and sit down and watch it. There's a lot of things you'll relate to, even in the current environment, as far as union pressure and political pressure and how dirty things can get. This is why I chose this to be the first movie for this particular new year of 2026. The film, as we know, saying it again, is On the Waterfront, made in 1954, starring Marlon Brando, Carl Malden, Lee J. Cobb, Rod Steiger, and the lovely Eva Marie Saint. Next, I'm going to send you to the trailer, and after that, I'm going to send you to the movies. Let's roll it.
My philosophy of life. Do it to him before he does it to you. What do you want?
Your gun. We got the fattest piers and the fattest harbor in the world. Everything moves in and out, we take our cut.
Father, who'd want to kill Joey? Who'd want to kill Joey?
Listen, you know who the pistols are. You're going to keep still until they cut you down one by one? Get a doctor!
Stay away from me!
walk yourself in the river.
No heartache felt no longer lonely. Nights of waiting finally won me. Happiness is all rolled up in you. And now with you as inspiration, I look toward a destination sunny, bright that once before was blue. I have no more than I did before, but now I've got all that I need. For I love you and I know you love me. So take my hand, I'll start my journey, free from all the helpless worry that besets a man when he's alone. More strength is mine when we're together, and with you I know I'll never have to pass the high road for the low. I have no more than I did before, but now I've got all that I need. For I love you and I know you love me. Play, magic fingers. Oh, pick it, Wilson. I have no more than I did before, but now I've got all that I need. For I love you and I know you love me. Yes, I love you and I know you love me.
This is Alexandria Ocasio-What's-Her-Face Days. I know the three branches of government, the House, the Senate, and the Kemo-Sabis of 30 with Tony, who know more than the other two combined.
Well, thanks, Kemosabe's. Thanks for staying with us. How are you doing on your New Year's resolutions? Well, I don't have any. My new year is going to start on February 1st. January 1st to the 31st for me is the free trial month, so I can't screw up. And if I don't like this year, I'm going to send it back. Anyway, it's Tony D'Angelo here on 30 with Tony. Thanks, Kemosabe's. Thanks for staying with us, and have a great new year. Have a great weekend. Stay safe if you're in the East. Might be cold out there. And you guys take care. Love you. God bless you. We'll see you next week.